Hello, everyone. Welcome to this advanced listening and speaking practice. If you already understand English, but still feel that your speech sounds hesitant, translated, or slightly unnatural, this session is designed for you. In real life, fluent speakers don't build sentences word by word. They rely on familiar daily phrases that flow automatically. In this practice, you'll train your ear and your instincts using advanced daily phrases that native speakers actually use. Stay relaxed. Let the language come to you. And listen as if you were inside a real conversation. If this kind of long-form practice helps you, take a moment to like the video. Subscribe to English and let me know in the comments where you're listening from. Now let's begin. At an advanced level, daily English is not about complexity. It's about precision and tone. When something feels reasonable, native speakers often say, "That makes sense," "That makes sense," or "That checks out." When they agree without enthusiasm, they say, "Fair enough," "Fair enough." When they accept a situation calmly, they say, "It is what it is. It is what it is." These phrases appear constantly in real conversations because they save effort and sound natural. When you want to soften an opinion, say, "From my perspective, from my perspective. It could work," or, "As far as I can tell, as far as I can tell. It's fine." Now let's move into phrases used to manage conversations smoothly. When you want to interrupt politely, say, "Sorry to jump in, but," "Sorry to jump in, but I have a thought." When you want to hold the floor, say, "Let me finish real quick, let me finish real quick." When you want to redirect the topic, say, "Let's shift gears, let's shift gears." Or, on a related note, we should talk about timing. Native speakers rely on these transitions to sound confident and controlled, to express uncertainty without sounding weak. Say, "I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure." Or, "I could be mistaken. I could be mistaken." To show confidence while staying open, say, "That's my understanding. That's my understanding." Or, "That's how I see it." Now let's focus on advanced daily phrases for work, study, and serious conversations. When something is delayed, people say, "It's been pushed back," "It's been pushed back," or "We're running behind." To talk about priorities, say, "That's a top priority," "That's a top priority," or "It's not urgent." To talk about workload, say, "I'm swamped," "I'm swamped," or "I've got a lot on my plate." To talk about progress, say, "We're making progress," "We're making progress," or "It's coming together." To manage expectations, say, "Let's be realistic," "Let's be realistic," or "I don't want to overpromise." Now notice how calm and neutral these phrases feel. They carry meaning without emotion overload. That's a key trait of advanced English. Now let's move into expressing opinions with balance and maturity. When you partly agree, say, "I see your point," "I see your point," or "You're not wrong." To disagree politely, say, "I'm not convinced," "I'm not convinced," or "I see it differently." To avoid conflict, say, "Let's agree to disagree," "Let's agree to disagree." To soften criticism, say, "It might be worth reconsidering," "It might be worth reconsidering," or "You may want to rethink that." These phrases allow you to sound thoughtful instead of reactive. Now let's practice language for decision-making. When a decision is easy, say, "It's a no-brainer," "It's a no-brainer." When a decision is difficult, say, "I'm on the fence," "I'm on the fence." When you commit, Say, I'm going with this. I'm going with this. Or, let's move forward. When you delay, say, I need to think it over. I need to think it over. Or, let me sleep on it. Native speakers use these expressions constantly in daily life. Now, let's talk about emotional control and self-awareness in English. To express frustration calmly, say, it's a bit frustrating. It's a bit frustrating. Or, that's annoying. To express relief, say, that's a relief. That's a relief. Or, I'm glad that's over. To express disappointment politely, say, that's not ideal. That's not ideal. Or, I was hoping for better. To express satisfaction, say, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. Or, that works for me. Now let's move into social English that sounds relaxed and natural. When starting casually, say, so what's new, so what's new? Or, how's everything going? When reacting with interest, say, oh, really? Oh, really? Or, no kidding. When responding casually, say, yeah. More or less. Yeah. More or less. Or, pretty much. To end a casual exchange, say, sounds good. Sounds good. Or, catch you later. These small phrases carry a lot of fluency. Wait. Now, let's focus on advanced phrases for explaining and clarifying. When something is simple, say, it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty straightforward. When something is complex, say, it's a bit involved. It's a bit involved. To clarify, say, what I mean is, we need more time. Or, in other words, it's not ready. To give examples, say, for instance, yesterday's meeting. Or, take this situation as an example. Now, let's move into phrases used to express boundaries and confidence. To say no politely, say, I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with that. Or, that doesn't work for me. To set limits, say, I can only go so far. I can only go so far. Or, that's where I draw the line. To express independence, say, I'll handle it. I'll handle it. Or, I've got it covered. To express trust, say, I trust your judgment. I trust your judgment. Now let's focus on time and pacing, which appear constantly in real conversations. When something takes time, say, it'll take a while. It'll take a while. When something is fast, say, it happened quickly. It happened quickly. To buy time, say, give me a moment. Give me a moment. Or, let me get back to you. To talk about timing, say, it's too soon. It's too soon. Or, it's about time. Now notice how these phrases reduce mental effort. You don't need to build sentences from scratch. You recognize and reuse patterns. That's how fluency forms. Now let's move into advanced listening mindset. As you continue listening, don't force repetition. Let your brain connect sound, meaning, and emotion naturally. If a phrase feels familiar, that's progress. If it feels automatic, that's fluency forming. Stay relaxed and keep listening. In the next part, we'll continue with more advanced daily phrases that help you sound calm, confident, and natural in real-life English conversations. As we continue, let your attention stay soft and relaxed. Advanced fluency grows when you stop trying to perform and start letting the language settle naturally. In everyday English, native speakers rely on subtle phrasing to express nuance without sounding dramatic. When something feels acceptable but not perfect, people often say, it'll do, it'll do, or it's good enough. When they want to signal flexibility, they say, I'm open to it, I'm open to it, or I don't mind either way. When something feels unnecessary, they say, that's overkill, or that's a bit much. These expressions appear constantly in real conversations because they communicate judgment quickly and naturally. Now let's move into phrases that help you navigate agreement and alignment. When you agree fully, say I'm on board, or I'm with you on that. When you agree conditionally, say I'm okay with it. As long as I'm okay with it, as long as the timing works. To express support, say I support that, or I'm backing this. To acknowledge someone else's point, say, that's a fair point, that's a fair point. Now let's focus on phrases for managing uncertainty and change. When plans change, native speakers say, plans changed, or things shifted. When something is undecided, they say, it's up in the air, it's up in the air. When something depends on another factor, they say, it depends, or that hinges on timing. To express adaptability, say, we'll adjust, or we'll play it by ear. These phrases signal calm control rather than stress. Now let's move into advanced daily phrases for effort and responsibility. When you accept responsibility, say, that's on me, or I'll take the blame. When you share responsibility, say, we're in this together, or it's a team effort. When you acknowledge effort, say you put in the work, or I can see the effort. To express commitment, say I'll follow through, or I won't drop the ball. Now let's talk about phrases used to describe situations realistically. When something is manageable, say, it's doable, or we can make it work. When something is difficult, say it's a challenge, or it's tough. To express limits, say, there's only so much we can do. To express constraints, say, we're stretched thin, or resources are limited. Now, let's focus on phrases for emotional intelligence in English. When you want to validate someone, say, I get where you're coming from, or that's understandable. To express empathy, say, that must be tough, or I can imagine. To de-escalate tension, say, let's take a step back, or let's cool off. To reassure, say it'll be fine, or we'll figure it out. These phrases create trust and connection. Now let's move into social rhythm and flow. When reacting naturally, say, that's interesting, or I didn't realize that. To show mild surprise, say, oh, I see, or that explains it. To keep conversation moving, say, go on, or tell me more. To pause politely, say, hold on a second, or give me a sec. Now, let's talk about phrases that signal experience and maturity. When reflecting, say, looking back, it makes sense. Or, in hindsight, we should have waited. To express learning, say, lesson learned, or I won't make that mistake again. To express acceptance, Say, I've come to terms with it. I've come to terms with it. Or I've made peace with it. To express perspective. Say, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. Now let's move into advanced phrases for efficiency and clarity. When you want to be direct, say, let's cut to the chase. Let's cut to the chase. When you want to simplify, say, long story short, long story short. It didn't work. To refocus, say, let's stay on track. Let's stay on track. Or back to the point. Back to the point. We need a decision. To confirm understanding. Say, are we clear? Are we clear? Or, does that make sense? Now let's practice phrases for managing expectations. When something takes time, say, it's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. When something isn't guaranteed, say, no promises. No promises. Or, we'll see. To lower expectations, say, don't get your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up. To express realism, say, let's not rush it. Let's not rush it. Now notice how these phrases keep communication smooth and grounded. They help you sound composed, realistic, and confident. As you keep listening, your brain begins to recognize patterns instead of individual words. This is how advanced fluency develops. In the next section, we'll continue with more refined daily phrases that help you express clarity, confidence, and control in real-life English conversations. As you keep listening, allow the rhythm to guide you. Advanced English is less about volume and more about precision. Native speakers often choose calm, efficient phrasing to communicate clearly without effort. When something feels reasonable, they say, that seems reasonable. That seems reasonable. When something doesn't add up, they say, something feels off. Something feels off. Or, that doesn't quite line up. To express hesitation politely, say, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. Or, I have my doubts. These phrases signal awareness without confrontation. Now let's move into phrases used to manage pressure and responsibility in daily life. When things get intense, people say, let's keep this manageable. Let's keep this manageable. Or, one step at a time. To acknowledge pressure, say, there's a lot riding on this. There's a lot riding on this. To stay grounded, say, let's keep perspective. Let's keep perspective. Or, we'll handle it as it comes. Now let's talk about advanced phrases for collaboration and teamwork. When you want alignment, say, let's get aligned. Let's get aligned. Or, are we on the same page? To delegate smoothly, say, can you take this on? Can you take this on? Or I'll handle this part. To check progress, say, where are we on this? Where are we on this? Or any updates. To close a task, say, let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up. Or, we're good to go. These expressions are common in professional and everyday contexts alike. Now let's focus on language for explaining decisions clearly. When justifying a choice, say, it made the most sense. It made the most sense. Or, given the situation. Given the situation. We moved forward. To explain constraints, say, we were limited by time. We were limited by time. Or, there were some constraints. To clarify priorities, say, this takes precedence. This takes precedence. Or, this comes first. Now let's move into phrases for expressing disagreement with control and respect. When you gently push back, say, I'm not sure I agree with that. I'm not sure I agree with that. Or I see it another way. To soften opposition, say, I hear what you're saying, But, I hear what you're saying. But I'm not convinced. To set a boundary. Say I can't go along with that. I can't go along with that. Or, that's not something I can support. These phrases protect your position without escalating tension. Now let's talk about advanced emotional vocabulary used daily by native speakers. When something feels overwhelming, say, it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to take in. When something feels draining, say, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. Or, it takes a toll. To express calm satisfaction, say, I'm content with that. I'm content with that. Or, that feels right. To express quiet confidence, say, I trust the process. I trust the process. Or I know what I'm doing. Now let's move into social nuance and subtle reactions. When you want to show polite interest, say, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Or, that's interesting to hear. To acknowledge without commitment, say, I'll keep that in mind. I'll keep that in mind. Or I'll think about it. To show neutrality, say, I don't have strong feelings either way. I don't have strong feelings either way. To express mild concern, say, that could be an issue. That could be an issue. Now let's focus on phrases used to control pacing and flow. When you want to slow things down, say, let's not rush this. Let's not rush this. Or, let's take our time. When you want to speed things up, say, let's move things along. Let's move things along. Or, let's get this moving. To pause naturally, say, let me circle back to that. Let me circle back to that. Or I'll come back to it. Now, let's talk about advanced phrases for self-awareness and reflection. When acknowledging growth, say, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot. Or, I've come a long way. To acknowledge limits, say, I know my limits. I know my limits. Or I can only do so much. To express balance, say, I'm trying to stay balanced. I'm trying to stay balanced. Or I'm pacing myself. To express humility, say, I'm still figuring things out. I'm still figuring things out. Now let's move into phrases used to express trust and reliability. When you want to reassure someone, say, you can count on me. You can count on me. Or I've got your back. To express dependability, say, I'll see it through. I'll see it through. Or I won't let it slip. To confirm reliability, say, I'll follow up. I'll follow up. Or, I'll check in. Now let's focus on advanced everyday phrases for describing outcomes. When something goes well, say, it worked out. It worked out. Or, it went smoothly. When something fails, say, it didn't pan out. It didn't pan out. Or, it fell through. To describe mixed results, say, it was a mixed bag. It was a mixed bag. To describe improvement, say, things are looking up. Things are looking up. Now let's move into phrases for closure and transition. When ending a discussion, say, I think we've covered it. I think we've covered it. Or, that's about it. To signal next steps, say, we'll take it from here. We'll take it from here. Or, let's move forward. To end positively, say, I'm glad we talked. I'm glad we talked. Or, this was helpful. Now, let's focus on mindset language that supports fluency. Native speakers don't chase perfect sentences. They rely on familiarity and rhythm. As you listen, notice how these phrases feel reusable. That's because they are. They show up again and again in real conversations. You don't need to memorize them. Repetition will do the work for you. Stay relaxed and keep listening. In the next section, we'll continue with more advanced daily phrases that help you sound steady, confident, and natural in real-life English, without forcing or overthinking anything. As this practice continues, let your listening become even lighter. Advanced English isn't about pushing harder. It's about recognizing patterns and letting them settle into place. Native speakers often rely on understated language to communicate confidence and clarity. When something feels acceptable but not ideal, they say, "It's not perfect, but it works." It's not perfect, but it works. When something feels unnecessary to discuss further, they say, "That's beside the point. That's beside the point." Or, "Let's not dwell on it." To signal calm acceptance, say, "I can live with that. I can live with that." Or, "I'm okay with it." Now let's move into phrases that help you express judgment without sounding harsh. When something is questionable, people say, "That's debatable. That's debatable." Or, "I'm not sold on it." When something seems exaggerated, they say, "That's a stretch. That's a stretch." Or, "That feels a bit forced." To express realism, say, "Let's be honest. Let's be honest." Or, "At the end of the day. At the end of the day." It comes down to timing. These expressions are common in thoughtful conversations and help you sound composed. Now let's focus on advanced phrases for navigating responsibility and outcomes. When something goes wrong, native speakers often say, "That happens. That happens." Or, "It comes with the territory." To accept consequences calmly, say, "That's the trade-off. That's the trade-off." Or, "You win some. You lose some." To explain why something failed, say, "It wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be." Or, "It didn't work out that way." Now let's move into language for perspective and balance. When something isn't serious, people say, "It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal." Or, "I wouldn't worry too much." When something matters, they say, "This is important. This is important." Or, "This deserves attention." To reduce tension, say, "Let's put this in perspective. Let's put this in perspective." Or, "Let's not blow this out of proportion." These phrases help keep conversations grounded. Now let's talk about advanced phrases for effort and consistency. When someone stays disciplined, people say, "They stayed the course. They stayed the course." Or, "They stuck with it." To describe persistence, say, "I kept at it. I kept at it." Or, "I didn't give up." To describe progress without exaggeration, say, "It's coming along. It's coming along." Or, "I'm seeing results." To describe setbacks, say, "I hit a roadblock. I hit a roadblock." Or, "I ran into issues." Now, let's move into phrases that show emotional maturity. When you want to acknowledge feelings without drama, say, "I'm aware of how I feel. I'm aware of how I feel." Or, "I've thought it through." To express disappointment calmly, say, "That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate." Or, "That's disappointing." To express relief quietly, say, "That takes a load off. That takes a load off." Or, "I feel lighter now." To express closure, say, "I've moved past it. I've moved past it." Or, "I've let it go." Now let's focus on phrases used in reflective conversation. When thinking back, native speakers say, "Looking back on it, looking back on it. I see why it happened." Or, in retrospect, it makes sense. To express growth, say, "I've grown from it. I've grown from it." Or, "It taught me a lot." To express acceptance, say, "I've come to accept it. I've come to accept it." Or, "I've made peace with it." Now let's move into language for clarity and directness. When you want to be clear, say, "Let me be clear. Let me be clear." Or to be honest. To be honest. I'm not interested. To express boundaries. Say I won't go that far. I won't go that far. Or, that's not an option for me. To express finality. Say that's final. That's final. Or, that's the decision. These phrases communicate certainty without aggression. Now let's talk about advanced phrases for time and pacing in daily life. When something feels overdue, people say, it's about time. It's about time. When something, as we move forward, stay with the calm rhythm of the language. Advanced English often sounds simple because it's shaped by experience, not effort. Native speakers choose phrases that feel grounded and practical. When something feels overdue, they say, it's about time. It's about time. When something feels premature, they say, it's too soon to tell. It's too soon to tell. To describe timing that's uncertain, say, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Or, time will tell. These expressions are common because they acknowledge reality without forcing conclusions. Now let's continue with phrases used to manage energy and focus. When someone feels mentally tired, they say, I'm running low on energy. I'm running low on energy. Or, I'm wiped out. To signal a break, say, I need a breather. I need a breather. Or, let's take a short break. To refocus attention, say, let's refocus. Let's refocus. Or, let's get back on track. These phrases help conversations stay productive without tension. Now let's move into advanced phrases for explaining priorities and trade-offs. When something matters more than something else, people say, this takes priority. This takes priority. Or, this comes first. To explain compromise, say, it's a trade-off. It's a trade-off. Or, we had to make a call. To explain a tough choice, say, there wasn't a perfect option. There wasn't a perfect option. Or, we did the best we could. These expressions show maturity and realism. Now let's focus on language for evaluating situations. When something is acceptable, native speakers say, it passes. It passes. Or, it's fine by me. When something feels risky, they say, that's risky. That's risky. Or, that could backfire. To describe uncertainty, say, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Or, it's anyone's guess. To describe clarity, say, it's clear to me now. It's clear to me now. Now let's move into phrases used to manage social expectations. When you don't want to commit, say, I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do. Or, I can't promise anything. When you want to be polite but firm, say, I appreciate the offer. But, I appreciate the offer. But I'll pass. To decline gently, say, I'll have to sit this one out. I'll have to sit this one out. Or, it's not for me. These phrases allow you to maintain respect while staying honest. Now let's talk about advanced phrases for self-regulation and calm control. When staying composed, say, I'm keeping my cool. I'm keeping my cool. Or, I'm staying level-headed. When emotions rise, say, let's not get carried away. Let's not get carried away. To express restraint, say, I'm holding back. I'm holding back. Or, I'm biting my tongue. To express reflection before reaction, say, I need to think before I respond. I need to think before I respond. These phrases are common in mature, thoughtful communication. Now let's move into phrases for describing patterns and habits. When something happens often, people say, it happens all the time. It happens all the time. Or, it's pretty common. When something is rare, they say, it hardly ever happens. It hardly ever happens. Or, it's not typical. To describe habits. Say, it's become a habit. It's become a habit. Or, I've gotten used to it. To describe change. Say, things have shifted. Things have shifted. Or I've adjusted. Now let's focus on phrases for clarity in explanation. When simplifying, say, to put it simply, to put it simply. It didn't work. When adding detail, say, to go into more detail, to go into more detail. We ran into delays. To restate, say, what I'm saying is, timing matters. To summarize, say, bottom line, bottom line. We need more time. These phrases help you guide listeners smoothly. Now let's move into language for accountability and follow-through. When committing, say, I'll make sure of it. I'll make sure of it. Or I'll see to it. When acknowledging oversight, say, that slipped my mind. That slipped my mind. Or, that was an oversight. To correct a mistake, say, let me fix that. Let me fix that. Or, I'll take care of it. These expressions show reliability and competence. Now let's talk about advanced phrases for describing mental states. When something feels confusing, people say, it's a bit unclear. It's a bit unclear. Or I'm not following. When something becomes clear, they say, now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. Or, it clicked. To express overload, say, it's a lot to process. It's a lot to process. To express calm understanding, say, I get it now. I get it now. Now, let's move into phrases that show perspective and emotional distance. When something no longer matters, people say, I'm past that. I'm past that. Or, that's behind me. When something doesn't affect you, say, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. Or I'm not affected by it. To express detachment, say, I'm taking a step back. I'm taking a step back. Or, I'm keeping my distance. These phrases help you sound balanced and self-aware. Now let's focus on phrases for describing effort realistically. When effort is steady, say, I'm putting in the work. I'm putting in the work. Or I'm staying consistent. When effort is reduced, say, I'm scaling back. I'm scaling back. Or I'm taking it easier. To express limits, say, I'm at capacity. I'm at capacity. Or I can't take on more right now. To express readiness, say, I'm good to go. I'm good to go. Now let's move into phrases for wrapping up interactions naturally. When signaling an ending, say, I should get going. I should get going. Or I won't keep you. To end, warmly, say, it was good talking to you. It was good talking to you. Or, I appreciate the time. To suggest continuation later, say, let's pick this up later. Let's pick this up later. Or, we'll reconnect soon. Now notice how all of these phrases feel practical and repeatable. They appear in daily life because they work. As you continue listening, your familiarity grows, and your need to translate fades. This is the path toward fluent, natural English. In the next section, we'll continue with more advanced daily phrases that help you express clarity, composure, and confidence in real-world English conversations. As you continue, let the language feel steady and unforced. At an advanced level, fluency comes from familiarity with how native speakers frame everyday thoughts. They don't dramatize. They observe, respond, and move on. When something feels acceptable without excitement, people say, that works. That works. Or, I'm fine with it. When something feels unnecessary to revisit, they say, let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. Or, no need to go into it. These phrases help conversations stay smooth and efficient. Now let's move into advanced daily phrases for handling uncertainty with ease. When outcomes aren't clear, native speakers say, "It could go either way." It could go either way. Or we'll have to wait and see. When something depends on circumstances, they say, "It depends on how things play out." It depends on how things play out. To express flexibility, say, "I can adjust." I can adjust. Or I'm flexible on that. These expressions reduce pressure and show adaptability. Now let's focus on phrases used to manage responsibility calmly. When you acknowledge a task, say, "I'll take care of it." I'll take care of it. Or I'll handle it. When you want to confirm completion, say, "It's been taken care of." It's been taken care of. Or, "That's done." To acknowledge shared responsibility, say, "We'll sort it out." We'll sort it out. Or, "We'll deal with it together." These phrases communicate reliability without overpromising. Now let's move into language for expressing effort and pacing. When effort is steady, people say, "I'm keeping at it." I'm keeping at it. Or I'm staying on top of things. When effort slows, they say, "I'm easing up a bit." I'm easing up a bit. Or I'm taking it slow. To describe consistency, say, "I'm sticking with it." I'm sticking with it. Or I'm staying consistent. Now let's talk about phrases for evaluating progress realistically. When progress is visible, native speakers say, "It's moving in the right direction." It's moving in the right direction. Or I can see improvement. When progress is slow, they say, "It's gradual." It's gradual. Or, "It's taking longer than expected." To acknowledge setbacks, say, "There were some bumps along the way." There were some bumps along the way. Or, "I ran into a few obstacles." Now let's move into phrases for emotional regulation and calm response. When something is irritating but manageable, say, "It's a bit annoying." It's a bit annoying. Or, "It's frustrating at times." To avoid escalation, say, "Let's not overreact." Let's not overreact. Or, "It's not worth stressing over." To regain calm, say, "I'm staying composed." I'm staying composed. Or, "I'm keeping things in check." These expressions reflect emotional maturity. Now let's focus on advanced phrases for explaining reasoning. When justifying a decision, say, "It came down to timing." It came down to timing. Or, "It made the most sense given the situation." To explain limitations, say, "We were working with constraints." We were working with constraints. Or, "There were some limitations." To clarify logic, say, "If you look at it this way, if you look at it this way, it's reasonable." Now let's move into phrases that signal awareness and attentiveness. When acknowledging information, say, "Noted." Noted. Or, "I'm aware of that." To show understanding, say, "That's clear." That's clear. Or, "I understand where you're coming from." To show consideration, say, "I'll keep that in mind." I'll keep that in mind. Or, "I'll take that into account." These phrases are short but powerful in real conversation. Now let's talk about advanced phrases for managing disagreement without friction. When expressing doubt, say, "I'm not fully convinced." I'm not fully convinced. Or, "I have some reservations." To soften disagreement, say, "I see your point, but I'm not sure." I see your point, but I'm not sure. To maintain respect, say, "I respect your view." I respect your view. Or, "That's a valid perspective." These expressions help preserve relationships while expressing yourself clearly. Now, let's move into phrases for describing mental clarity and confusion. When clarity appears, people say, "It's starting to make sense. It's starting to make sense." Or things are clearer now. When confused, they say, "I'm a bit lost. I'm a bit lost." Or "I'm not following entirely." To regain clarity, say, "Let me clarify. Let me clarify." Or, "Let me explain." Now let's focus on phrases for describing effort under pressure. When pressure increases, native speakers say, "There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on." Or, "Things are intense right now." To maintain control, say, "I'm managing it. I'm managing it." Or, "I'm handling the pressure." To reduce stress, say, "Let's take it step by step. Let's take it step by step." Or, "One thing at a time." Now let's move into phrases that express reflection and learning. When acknowledging lessons, say, "I learned a lot from that. I learned a lot from that." Or, "It was a learning experience." To acknowledge mistakes calmly, say, "I made a misstep. I made a misstep." Or, "That was on me." To express growth, say, "I've adjusted since then. I've adjusted since then." Or, "I've improved." Now, let's talk about advanced phrases for daily social balance. When keeping things light, say, "No worries. No worries." Or, "All good." When reassuring casually, say, "It's fine. It's fine." Or, "Don't worry about it." To respond neutrally, say, "Fair enough. Fair enough." Or, "That's understandable." These expressions help maintain relaxed interaction. Now, let's focus on phrases for describing decisions over time. When something was delayed, people say, "We held off. We held off." Or, "We waited it out." When something was rushed, they say, "It was rushed. It was rushed." Or, "We moved too quickly." To describe timing success, say, "The timing worked out. The timing worked out." Or, "We hit the right moment." Now let's move into phrases for expressing boundaries with ease. When limiting involvement, say, "I can only commit so much. I can only commit so much." Or, "I'm at my limit." To protect time, say, "I need to prioritize. I need to prioritize." Or, "I need to focus elsewhere." 2. Step back. Say, "I'll take a step back. I'll take a step back." Or, "I'm pulling back a bit." Now let's focus on phrases that signal reliability and follow through. When confirming action, say, "I'll follow up on that. I'll follow up on that." Or, "I'll check on it." When confirming completion, say, "It's been handled. It's been handled." Or, "That's taken care of." To maintain trust, say, "You can rely on me. You can rely on me." Or, "I won't let it slip." Now let's move into phrases for closing discussions naturally. When closing a topic, say, "I think that covers it. I think that covers it." Or, "That should do it." To signal transition, say, "Let's move on. Let's move on." Or, "On to the next thing." To end on a positive note, say, "Glad we talked this through. Glad we talked this through." Or, "This was productive." As you listen, notice how these phrases form a calm, confident speaking style. This is how advanced English sounds in real life. No rush, no pressure, just clarity and ease. In the next section, we'll continue with more advanced daily phrases that help you express control, confidence, and natural fluency in real-world English conversations. As you move forward, pay attention to how advanced speakers manage transitions in thought. They rarely sound abrupt. When shifting focus, they say, speaking of which, or that reminds me. These phrases help conversations flow without friction. When returning to a point, they say, coming back to what you said earlier, coming back to what you said earlier, or to circle back. These are common in both casual and professional contexts. Now let's focus on advanced daily phrases for expressing confidence without arrogance. When you're sure of something, native speakers say, I'm confident about that. I'm confident about that. Or, I feel good about it. To express certainty gently, say, I'm fairly certain. I'm fairly certain. Or, I don't have doubts about it. When confidence is based on experience, say, I've seen this before. I've seen this before. Or, I know how this usually goes. These phrases sound grounded and mature. Now, let's move into phrases for managing expectations realistically. When outcomes may fall short, people say, let's keep expectations realistic. Let's keep expectations realistic. Or, let's see how it unfolds. To avoid over-promising, say, I'll do what I can. I'll do what I can. Or, I can't guarantee anything. When progress is uncertain, say, it's not set in stone. It's not set in stone. Or, things can change. These expressions protect trust and clarity. Now let's focus on phrases for expressing mental focus and distraction. When focused, native speakers say, I'm locked in. I'm locked in. Or, I'm fully focused. When distracted, they say, I'm a bit scattered. I'm a bit scattered. Or, I'm juggling a lot right now. To regain focus, say, let me regroup. Let me regroup. Or, let me refocus. These phrases are natural in fast-paced daily life. Now let's talk about advanced phrases for describing effort behind the scenes. When work is ongoing, say, there's a lot happening behind the scenes. There's a lot happening behind the scenes. Or, we're working on it quietly. When progress isn't visible yet, say, it's in motion. It's in motion. Or, it's underway. To signal patience, say, these things take time. These things take time. Or, it doesn't happen overnight. Now, let's move into phrases for expressing satisfaction and dissatisfaction subtly. When satisfied, native speakers say, I'm happy with how it turned out. I'm happy with how it turned out. Or, it meets expectations. When mildly dissatisfied, they say, it could be better. It could be better. Or, I was hoping for more. To express disappointment calmly, say, it fell short. It fell short. Or, it didn't quite land. These phrases are controlled and precise. Now let's focus on phrases used to describe consistency and habits. When something is routine, say, it's part of my routine. It's part of my routine. Or, I do it regularly. When consistency matters, say, I show up every day. I show up every day. Or, I keep it consistent. To describe lapses, say, I fell out of the habit. I fell out of the habit. Or, I lost momentum. Now let's move into phrases for explaining cause and effect naturally. When explaining reasons, native speakers say, that's why. That's why. Or, as a result. When something leads to another outcome, say, it triggered a change. It triggered a change. Or, it set things in motion. To soften causality, say, it played a role. It played a role. Or, it had an impact. These expressions are common in reflective speech. Now let's focus on phrases for expressing openness and receptiveness. When open to ideas, say, I'm open to suggestions. I'm open to suggestions. Or, I'm willing to hear you out. When considering options, say, I'm weighing my options. I'm weighing my options. Or, I'm exploring possibilities. To delay judgment, say, I'm reserving judgment. I'm reserving judgment. Or, I haven't decided yet. Now let's move into phrases for managing social energy. When low on energy, people say I'm running low, or I'm drained. When recharging, they say I need to recharge, or I need some downtime. To pace yourself, say I'm pacing myself, or I'm conserving energy. These phrases are common in modern daily conversations. Now let's talk about advanced phrases for describing cooperation. When teamwork works well, say, we're aligned, or we're on the same page. When coordination is needed, say, let's sync up, or let's coordinate. To resolve misalignment, say, we need to recalibrate, or we need to adjust. Now let's focus on phrases for acknowledging effort in others. When appreciating someone, say, I appreciate the effort, or thanks for stepping in. To recognize consistency, say, you've been solid, or you've been reliable. To encourage, say, keep it up, or you're doing great. These phrases strengthen social bonds. Now, let's move into phrases for expressing hesitation and caution. When hesitant, native speakers say, I'm a bit hesitant, or I'm not entirely comfortable with that. To express caution, say, let's proceed carefully, or let's not rush into it. To delay action, say, let's hold off for now, or let's pause on that. Now, let's focus on phrases for describing long-term perspective. When thinking ahead, say, in the long run, or looking ahead. When reflecting back, say, in hindsight, or looking back. To balance time frames, say, it's a long-term play, or it's about the bigger picture. Now let's move into phrases for signaling closure and readiness to move forward. When ready, say, I'm ready to move forward, or let's take the next step. To conclude thoughtfully, say, that's where I stand, or that sums it up. To affirm direction, say, we're moving forward, or we're making progress. As you listen and repeat, let these phrases settle into your natural rhythm. This is advanced daily English as it's actually spoken, calm, precise, and grounded in real life. In the next section, we'll continue building this fluency with more phrases that help you sound confident, thoughtful, and completely natural in everyday English. As the practice continues, notice how advanced speakers often soften statements to sound thoughtful rather than absolute. When something is likely but not guaranteed, they say, it seems that way, or that appears to be the case. When offering an opinion gently, say, from my perspective, or as far as I can tell. These phrases create space for dialogue instead of closing it. Now let's move into advanced daily phrases for handling uncertainty with confidence. When you don't know yet, native speakers say, it's hard to say, or I'll need more time to assess. To stay flexible, say, we'll see how it goes, or let's take it step by step. To avoid pressure, say, there's no rush, or we're not on a tight deadline. These expressions help you sound calm and in control. Now, let's focus on phrases used to manage disagreements maturely. When you partially disagree, say, I see it a bit differently. I see it a bit differently. Or, I'm not sure I agree entirely. To keep things respectful, say, I respect your view. I respect your view. Or, I get where you're coming from. To de-escalate tension, say, let's not make this personal. Let's not make this personal. Or, let's keep this constructive. These phrases are common among fluent, emotionally intelligent speakers. Now, let's move into phrases for expressing priorities. When something matters most, native speakers say, this is a priority for me. This is a priority for me. Or, this comes first. To explain trade-offs, say, something has to give. Something has to give. Or, you can't have everything at once. To clarify, focus. Say, I'm focusing on what matters. I'm focusing on what matters. Or, I'm cutting out distractions. Now, let's talk about advanced phrases for describing progress over time. When improvement is gradual, say, it's been a steady process. It's been a steady process. Or, little by little. It's improving. To describe momentum, say, things are picking up. Things are picking up. Or, it's gaining traction. To describe slow periods, say, things have slowed down. Things have slowed down. Or, it's been quiet lately. These phrases reflect real rhythms of daily life. Now let's focus on phrases for expressing responsibility and ownership. When taking responsibility, say, that's on me. That's on me. Or, I take full responsibility. To acknowledge mistakes calmly, say, I missed that. I missed that. Or, that was an oversight. To correct course, say, I'll make it right. I'll make it right. Or, I'll address it. These expressions signal maturity and reliability. Now let's move into phrases for expressing boundaries in a respectful way. When declining politely, native speakers say, I'm going to pass on that. I'm going to pass on that. Or, that's not something I can commit to. To protect time, say, I'm stretched pretty thin. I'm stretched pretty thin. Or, my schedule is full. To set limits, say, I need to draw a line here. I need to draw a line here. Or, I can only go so far. These phrases help you sound firm but courteous. Now, let's talk about advanced phrases for expressing motivation and drive. When motivated, say, I'm driven to improve. I'm driven to improve. Or, I'm committed to this. To describe internal motivation, say, it matters to me. It matters to me. Or, I care about the outcome. To describe discipline, say, I stay consistent. I stay consistent. Or, I hold myself accountable. These phrases are common in personal growth conversations. Now let's focus on phrases for describing communication itself. When clarity matters, native speakers say, let me clarify. Let me clarify. Or, to put it simply, to check understanding, say, does that make sense? Does that make sense? Or, are we aligned on this? To adjust tone, say, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that. Or, let me put it another way. These expressions improve fluency in real conversations. Now let's move into phrases for expressing patience and tolerance. When patient, say, I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to wait. Or, I can be patient. To express tolerance, say, I can work with that. I can work with that. Or, I can adapt. To reduce pressure, say, there's some wiggle room. There's some wiggle room. Or, we have flexibility. These phrases reflect calm adaptability. Now let's talk about advanced phrases for describing mental states. When clear-headed, native speakers say, "I'm clear on that," "I'm clear on that," or "My head's in the right place." When overwhelmed, they say, "I've got a lot on my mind," "I've got a lot on my mind," or "It's been mentally taxing." To regain balance, say, "I need to reset," "I need to reset," or "I need a mental break." Now, let's focus on phrases for expressing trust and reliability. When trusting someone, say, "I trust your judgment," "I trust your judgment," or "I have confidence in you." To show reliability, say, "You can count on me," "You can count on me," or "I'll follow through." To reinforce trust, say, "I've got your back," "I've got your back," or "I won't let this slip." These phrases are deeply embedded in everyday native speech. Now let's move into phrases for describing outcomes and results. When something works well, say, "It paid off," "It paid off," or "It delivered results." When outcomes are mixed, say, "It was a mixed outcome," "It was a mixed outcome," or "It had ups and downs." When results disappoint, say, "It didn't meet expectations," "It didn't meet expectations," or "It missed the mark." Now let's talk about advanced phrases for expressing reflection in the present moment. When pausing to think, say, "Let me think about that for a second," "Let me think about that for a second," or "I need to reflect on it." To express awareness, say, "I'm conscious of that," "I'm conscious of that," or "I'm mindful of it." To express learning, say, "I'm learning as I go," "I'm learning as I go." Now let's focus on phrases that signal readiness for change. When open to change, native speakers say, "I'm ready for a shift," "I'm ready for a shift," or "I'm open to change." To describe adjustment, say, "I'm adapting," "I'm adapting," or "I'm adjusting my approach." To commit to change, say, "I'm making changes," "I'm making changes," or "I'm taking steps forward." As you continue listening and repeating, allow these advanced daily phrases to blend into your natural speaking style. This is how fluent speakers communicate in real life. Not exaggerated, not dramatic, just clear, balanced, and natural. Keep listening, keep repeating, and let your English grow steadily and confidently. As this practice deepens, you'll notice how advanced speakers often communicate indirectly while staying clear. When something is implied rather than stated, they say, "You know what I mean," "You know what I mean," or "It goes without saying." These phrases help maintain flow without over-explaining. When something is obvious to them, they say, "That's a given," "That's a given," or "That's understood." Now, let's move into advanced daily phrases for expressing subtle agreement. When you agree but don't want to overdo it, native speakers say, "That makes sense," "That makes sense," or "I can see that." To show alignment, say, "I'm with you on that," "I'm with you on that," or "We're on the same wavelength." These expressions sound relaxed and natural. Now let's focus on phrases for expressing contrast and nuance. When adding a counterpoint, say, "That said," "That said," or "On the other hand." To introduce nuance, say, "It depends," "It depends," or "There's more to it than that." These phrases are common in thoughtful, fluent conversations. Now let's move into phrases for managing misunderstandings. When clarifying, native speakers say, "That's not quite what I meant," "That's not quite what I meant," or "Let me clarify my point." To check assumptions, say, "Are we talking about the same thing?" "Are we talking about the same thing?" To resolve confusion, say, "Let's clear this up." let's clear this up. These expressions help prevent friction. Now, let's talk about advanced phrases for expressing initiative. When taking the lead, say, I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it. Or I'll handle it. To volunteer, say, I can step in. I can step in. Or I'll jump on that. To signal readiness, say, I'm on it. I'm on it. Or consider it done. These phrases sound confident without being pushy. Now, let's focus on phrases for describing pressure and urgency. When time matters, native speakers say, we're under pressure. We're under pressure. Or time is tight. To manage urgency, say, let's prioritize. Let's prioritize. Or let's focus on what's urgent. To reduce stress, say, let's take a breath. Let's take a breath. Or one thing at a time. Now let's move into phrases for expressing caution and risk. When something is risky, people say, that's risky. That's risky. Or there's a chance it won't work. To assess risk, say, we need to weigh the risks. We need to weigh the risks. Or let's think this through. To avoid mistakes, say, let's be careful here. Let's be careful here. Or I don't want to jump the gun. These expressions show sound judgment. Now let's talk about advanced phrases for describing clarity and confusion. When clear, native speakers say, it's clear to me. It's clear to me. Or I understand it now. When confused, they say, I'm not following. I'm not following. Or I'm a bit lost. To regain clarity, say, can you walk me through it? Can you walk me through it? Or can you break it down? These phrases are essential in real conversations. Now, let's focus on phrases for expressing value and importance. When something matters, say, it holds value. It holds value. Or it's meaningful. To emphasize importance, say, this matters. This matters. Or this carries weight. To prioritize, say, this takes precedence. This takes precedence. Or this comes first. Now let's move into phrases for expressing independence and autonomy. When making your own choice, native speakers say, it's my call. It's my call. Or I'll decide. To express independence, say, I stand by my decision. I stand by my decision. Or I'm comfortable with my choice. To assert autonomy, say, I need to do this my way. I need to do this my way. Or I trust my judgment. Now let's talk about advanced phrases for expressing optimism and realism together. When hopeful but grounded, say, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic. Or I feel hopeful but realistic. To balance expectations, say, let's stay grounded. Let's stay grounded. Or let's see how it develops. These phrases reflect emotional balance. Now let's focus on phrases for describing effort under pressure. When pushing through, native speakers say, I'm pushing through. I'm pushing through. Or I'm hanging in there. To describe resilience, say, I'm staying resilient. I'm staying resilient. Or I'm holding steady. To express fatigue honestly, say, it's been a grind. It's been a grind. Or it's taken a lot out of me. Now let's move into phrases for expressing reflection during action. When adjusting in real time, say, I'm learning on the fly. I'm learning on the fly. Or I'm figuring it out as I go. To show awareness, say, I'm paying attention to that. I'm paying attention to that. Or I'm aware of the implications. Now let's talk about advanced phrases for signaling mutual understanding. When understanding is shared, native speakers say, we understand each other. We understand each other. or we're in sync. To confirm understanding. Say, just to confirm. Just to confirm. Or, just to be clear. To close the loop. Say, we're aligned now. We're aligned now. Or, we're good on this. As you continue listening and repeating, let these phrases become part of your natural English. This is how fluent speakers communicate with ease, precision, and confidence in everyday life. Keep going. Stay consistent. And your fluency will continue to deepen naturally. Before we close this practice, I want to share something important with you. This video is not about memorizing phrases. It's not about collecting expressions or trying to sound impressive overnight. Fluent English does not come from knowing more phrases. It comes from knowing how phrases live inside real thoughts, real situations, and real timing. That's what this lesson is designed to support. Advanced daily English is subtle. Native speakers don't speak in perfect sentences. They speak in layers. They soften ideas. They leave things unsaid. They adjust tone depending on context. The phrases you've practiced here are not special because they are advanced. They are powerful because they are ordinary. They are used every day by people who think in English, not people who translate in their heads. One common mistake learners make is believing that fluency means speed. Speaking faster does not mean speaking better. Real fluency is calm. It's measured. It's choosing the right phrase at the right moment without stress. If you listen closely to native speakers, you'll notice they pause, they hesitate, they rephrase. And that's exactly what makes their English sound natural. This video trains your ear for that rhythm. Another important point is expectation. This video is not a shortcut, and it is not magic. No single video can make you fluent. Anyone who promises that is not being honest. What this video does is give your brain repeated, realistic exposure to how English actually sounds when it's used properly. Over time, that exposure changes how you process the language. The goal is not to remember everything you hear. In fact, you are not supposed to remember all of it. Your brain absorbs patterns automatically when it hears them often enough. Think of how you learned your first language. You didn't study rules. You listened over and over until the patterns became familiar. This video works the same way, just at an adult level. If you want to use this video effectively, consistency matters more than intensity. Listening once for 2 hours is helpful, but listening regularly is far more powerful. You can play this video while walking, resting, commuting, or doing light activities. You don't need full concentration every time. Passive listening is not wasted listening. It still builds familiarity and intuition. That said, active practice also has its place. Sometimes, pause the video. Repeat a phrase out loud. Not louder, not faster. Just naturally. Focus on the rhythm, not perfection. You don't need to sound like a specific accent. You need to sound comfortable in your own voice. That comfort is what people hear as fluency. Another key idea is patience. Advanced English develops slowly because it operates at the level of nuance. You might understand everything in this video and still feel unable to use it right away. That's normal. Understanding comes before usage. Usage comes after repeated exposure. Trust that process instead of fighting it. It's also important to stop translating. Translation creates delay. Delay creates anxiety. Anxiety blocks fluency. When you listen to these phrases, don't ask yourself how to say them in your language. Ask yourself when you would use them in real life. Picture situations, conversations, moments. That mental connection is far more valuable than a translation. You may notice that some phrases feel familiar but slightly different from what you learned before. That's a good sign. It means you're moving beyond textbook English into real-world English. Native speakers rarely speak in perfect learning sentences. They speak in flexible, adaptable ways. This video is built to reflect that reality. Another thing to understand is that fluency is not confidence first. Confidence comes after familiarity. The more familiar English feels in your ears, the less threatening it becomes. Over time, your brain stops treating English as a task and starts treating it as a tool. That shift is when real progress begins. If you ever feel stuck, remind yourself that progress in language is not linear. Some days you'll feel sharp, other days you'll feel slow. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means your brain is reorganizing information. Growth often feels quiet before it feels obvious. This video is designed to support long-term improvement, not quick performance. It helps you build an internal sense of how English works, how ideas flow, and how tone changes meaning. Those skills are what separate advanced speakers from intermediate ones. Finally, remember this. Fluency is not about sounding like someone else. It's about expressing yourself clearly and comfortably. The phrases in this lesson are tools, not rules. Use what fits you. Ignore what doesn't. Over time, your English will naturally become more precise, more relaxed, and more natural. If you found this practice helpful, the best next step is simple. Keep listening, keep exposing yourself to real English, and give yourself permission to improve slowly. That's how real fluency is built. Thank you for spending this time practicing with English. Stay consistent, stay patient, and let the language grow with you.